Do you wish that you didn't have to wait in line in security at the airport?
Keep watching, we'll tell you how to avoid those lines.
Welcome. It's Around the World with Josh and Alyssa, week 56. And we are going to spend the next few weeks giving you some travel tips, especially when it comes to traveling in airports.
Yep.
Now, if you're a kid and you say, well, my parents take care of all of that, well, we're going to teach you some things that you need to maybe teach your parents. So, let's get into it. We love to travel. We love to fly. We love airports. And one of the things we don't like at airports is lines that we have to wait in. Right? Who likes to wait in line?
Long lines.
Look at all those people. Now, if you're checking baggage, sometimes you have no choice to wait in a long line. But for that reason, you also want to get to the airport early because you don't want your plane to leave while you're standing in line trying to check baggage. Because then neither you nor your luggage will make it. And of course, there is airport security. And who really likes airport security? Really no one. Sometimes even the people who work in airport security don't like airport security. One tip, when you're going through airport security, be nice. Be really nice to all of them because they mostly deal with people who don't like them and are not nice. So when you go through, say nice things, smile at them, talk to them by using their name. Do whatever you can to make their day because they deal with a lot of unhappy people. Now, lines at the airport usually don't look like this. Actually, if you can look at the far end of this picture, that's normally what it is. In fact, this is usually what you will experience at the This is at one airport.
Whoa.
I think this was Denver. If it wasn't Denver, it was maybe Indianapolis. I can't remember for sure. But this is the security line here. Okay? What you see there in the bottom half of the screen is one long line, which then splits into about 6 or 8 lines up in the top half to go through security. But it is very long. I actually got to go through a line that was all the way over on the end, and it took me like 5 minutes to get through. And I just walked by and looked at all these people and was like, glad I'm not you. Here, this is in Ghana, going in the airport, getting through. Well, anyway, if you want to get through security a lot faster, you need TSA pre-check. I have had it now for about 4 years, and I think Alyssa's had it for about 2 years. And TSA pre-check is really nice because, well, first of all, if you have electronics, like a laptop computer or a tablet, you don't have to take it out of your luggage when you're flying out of the US. You can leave it in your luggage, just send your backpack or your suitcase through with it, and then pick it up on the other side. You also don't have to remove your liquids. You don't have to take off your jacket as long as there's no metal inside your jacket. You don't have to take off your shoes. Basically, you walk up, put your stuff on the conveyor belt, it goes through the scanner, you pick it up on the other side, and you're done.
So fast.
Oh, yes. And you get to bypass the really long lines. So that is TSA pre-check, and also it comes with something else. Well, there's another program called Global Entry. When you are returning to the US, you have to go through US Customs and Border Patrol, and that can take a very long time too. But with Global Entry, you walk up to like a little computer with a camera on it, and it takes a picture of you and compares it to your passport. You scan your fingerprints, and you basically They print out a little piece of paper for you, and you bypass the lines, and you take it to the customs person. He takes a look at it, asks you a couple questions, and then welcomes you back into the U.S. And that's it. Now, of course, these things are not free. Global entry is $85, and TSA pre-check, it costs like $75 or something, I think. But if you get global entry, you also get TSA pre-check at the same time. So there's really no reason just to get TSA pre-check. Now, if any of you say, wow, we travel like a few times a year, and we think that would be really great so we don't have to wait in lines, well, Alyssa and I get it for free with a couple credit cards we have. In fact, right now we have 6 different credit cards that give us credits for global entry and TSA pre-check.
There definitely aren't 6 of us.
No, so we are only taking advantage of 2. So if you're interested in getting global entry and TSA pre-check for free, let us know. We could probably help you out because, yeah, it's just that money is not being used. Now, keep in mind that TSA pre-check does not always work in other countries and with all airlines. It's an American thing, and so a lot of the airlines in America use it, and the airports in America use it. If you don't have global entry, when you are returning to the U.S., you can use something free called Mobile Passport Control. It's an app that you download on your phone, and you put in your passport information, and you can fill out your customs sheet in your phone. And then when you get in line for customs, you actually just look for the sign that says Mobile Passport Control, and you walk over to that line, and you go through, and it's almost the same thing as global entry, and just about as fast.
I don't feel like as many countries have that, though. I've only seen it a few places so far.
You mean not as many airports? Because it's only for getting into the U.S.
Yes, not as many airports.
Yes.
I don't think have that mobile passport. But it is very handy when they do, because it's really speedy.
Yes,
right on your phone.
especially if you don't have global entry, because this is a free option.
Yeah.
But this does not help you getting through security in the first place when you're flying somewhere.
It gets you to your destination a little faster.
Yes, but we love getting to the airport not 2 or 3 hours ahead of time and having to wait in those security lines. We like going through TSA pre-check, getting through really quick, and then getting on to our next thing, which we'll tell you about another time. Yeah. Why we like spending time at the airports. That's a completely different topic. So let us know if you'd like to get through the airport quicker next time, and maybe we can help you.
Yep. Okay, I have a new story today. And if you wanted to go to the place where this story took place, you would definitely have to take an airplane.
Okay.
Because it's a long ways away.
I don't think I'm familiar with this one, so I'll look forward to it.
Yeah. This is our new story. This is a story about a little boy in the country of Vietnam, which is not very close to where we are here. It's a long ways away. So he is from the country of Vietnam, and this is back a few years ago when there was a lot of war happening in his country, and a lot of the leaders in his country weren't following a good set of rules, and there was all sorts of problems. So it caused a lot of problems for him and for his family. So this is a story, sorry, I forgot to say his name. This is a story of Li Hui's escape. And so we're going to talk about this little boy, Hui. So, Hui was sleeping restlessly on his mat, and it was because all he could think about was this crazy dream he was having. And it was kind of mixed with things he had heard from people in his village and other things that just his mind was coming up with. But in his dream, he was hearing people telling him, don't listen to the light-haired people and don't listen to her friend, because they are going to tell you things from their book, and then they're going to sneak and take away your children, and they're going to take out your children's eyes, and they're going to send them to a country where there are only blue-eyed children and there are no dark-eyed children. And your Buddha will not be happy if you listen to anything these people have to say. So Hui was having a really hard time sleeping because he just kept thinking about this and tossing and turning. And his little sister was laying over there on her cot, little Kim, and she wasn't bothered at all. She always slept so soundly, and she knew that her brother Hui was always looking out for her. Well, finally he did fall asleep, and then he thought that this lady was coming to get him because somebody was shaking him awake. So he jerked up awake, and it was just his mom. She said, "Shh, your father thinks the bombs are getting closer, and the soldiers will be here soon, so we're going to leave. But don't wake up your sister." Be very quiet. I need you to roll up your mat and grab a stick because we're going to bring the pig with us, and I want you to poke the pig if he stops walking, just to keep him moving. So Hui did just what his mom said. He got up. It was super, super quiet, so he didn't wake up his sister. And then when they were all ready to go, he picked her up and carried her while she still was sleeping. So it was Hui, his sister Kim, his mother, and his father, and they brought along their pig, their family animal. And his mother had made some rice and some other little food, and she had tucked it away up here into this bundle that she was wearing on her head. And then in her hand, she was carrying their family Buddha, and she had it wrapped up in a little cloth because she didn't think it would be good if they dropped it, and their family Buddha would be very mad at them. So they were walking in the dark, and Hui was a little scared because he really didn't like the sounds of all of those planes, jets flying over, and the bombs going off, and the soldiers coming, and he was scared. But he knew that his father was going to protect them, and whatever was going to happen was going to be okay. So they walked and they walked and they walked, and then once it started getting a little bit light, they stopped pretty close by an area where there were lots of rice fields. And Hui looked over the rice fields and he saw the carabao and he saw the herons. He thought, why can they get along? And why don't people get along well? Like the animals can get along. Why do people always have to be fighting? Well, once the sun did come up, they went into one of the little abandoned huts and they decided to sleep during the day, because if they could sleep during the day, they could walk around at night and then none of the soldiers would see them. And his father said, don't even leave the hut, because if they see any movement outside, they will drop a bomb on it. So they just stayed right inside. They slept during the day, and then once it got dark again, Hui's mother made a little bit of food and they gathered it up and they got back to walking again. So they walked and they walked and they met other people as they were walking too. Hui met a little boy whose mother and father had been taken away, but this little boy was carrying his 1-year-old sister with him, and he was already thinking of how he was going to take care of her and how they were going to get across the river that was coming up soon and how he was going to swim and tie her onto his back. And he thought that sounded so scary, and he was so glad that his dad was with them, that they would be safe. Well, after much walking, they got to another place to rest in another little hut. They all crawled inside, and they were sitting there very quiet, and then they heard some soldiers outside. Hui's father put his finger up to his lips to remind them all to be very quiet. And the soldiers were talking. And they said, did you hear that one of our scouts saw lots of people going by, but they saw a family, and the family had a pig? The other soldier said, a pig? Oh, just the thought of it makes me hungry. We could have such a great feast if we found a pig. We got to figure out where these people are. So Hui's eyes got really big, and he held on to his sister Kim really tight and told her to be quiet. And his mom and his dad, everyone stood very quietly, and they could hear the soldiers walking outside. Everyone was quiet except the pig. The pig made a sound. Oink! Did you hear that? One of the soldiers said. And they started looking around, and they found the hut with Hui's family in it. And they came in and they found his dad, and they pulled him outside, and they said, You work for the government. And they shot him. And Hui looked outside, and there was his dad, just dead on the ground. But he tucked his head back in, and his mother looked outside, and she handed Hui their little Buddha statue, and he held onto it tight, and his sister, and then his mom fainted. And the guards came in, they pulled her outside, and they pulled the pig outside and started laughing. Look at this is the best day ever. We not only got a pig, we got a woman with it too. And they started marching off and just dragging his mother and the pig behind. We just didn't know what to do. Everything had just fallen apart right in front of him, but the soldiers didn't even notice he was there with his little sister. Well, he knew it was his job now to take care of her. So he unwrapped their little Buddha and he put it in the corner, and he took out some rice, and he got some rice for Kim, and he got some rice for himself, and he gave some rice to the Buddha because that's what they always had to do. They had to give some to the Buddha before they could eat it themselves. So they ate a little bit of rice, they slept for the rest of the day, and then that night, Hui did the same thing his mom had done. He packed up the food, he packed up their little Buddha, and he started on a long walk to keep going to get to the city. And every night they did the same thing. They unpacked, they got a little food, and the food got smaller and smaller because they were running out and they didn't have any more. And Hui got hungrier and hungrier, but he still had to take care of his little sister. Finally, they got to the big city, and once they got to the big city, there were more places for Hui to find food. Sometimes it meant stealing from other people. Sometimes he was digging through the garbage to find food. But they were always hungry. And he didn't understand, why, Buddha? Why aren't you giving us more food? We're always giving you food first. We're always taking care of you. Why aren't you taking care of us? You're going to have to come back next week to find out what happens to Hui and Kim.
I don't like how that story starts. That's really sad.
It is a sad story, but I think that Hui's going to learn a lot about life. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Life isn't easy for a lot of kids around the world. Mm-hmm. There might be kids that actually have a lot of life stories just like this story. And you know what? You need to be really thankful for what you do have and say thank you to your mom and dad and all the things that they give you, because you're not just trying to dig through the garbage to get food because you don't have any food. You have a lot. Make sure you say thank you for what you do have.
Yep. Okay, we're going to give you an update on a missionary that we introduced many weeks ago, and that is Rhonda Green, who serves in Micronesia and on Guam, the main island there. And so here is a picture of her, and she sent us a video that we can show you. So instead of talking, we're just going to let you watch the video and let her and her ministry.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Green. I live on Guam, but I've been a missionary here in Guam and in Micronesia for the past 19 and a half years. I'm excited to be able to share with you what God is doing here in the islands. It's a privilege to be an instrument in God's hands, and I want to share with you some of the things that God is allowing me to do. One of them is that I get to teach a health class and a Bible class here at the Bible College that is specifically for the Micronesians here on Guam. And they come from other islands, Yap, Kosrae, Chuk, Marshall, Palau, Ponape, and just throughout those Micronesian islands. And the students come from different churches, and they come here and they study God's Word for about 5 years. And then after that, they are able to go back to their islands and help the missionaries that sent them, the churches that sent them. And I'm just excited to be a part of that. And they help me. As I teach them, they help me. They help me with discipleship of the bus kids. And they also help me with the bus ministry as writers and interacting with the kids. They help with the children's ministries. They help with the teen ministries. There's many opportunities that they have to minister here on Guam with their own people, and it's just exciting to see God working in their lives. You see them come really shy and reserved their first year, second year, and by the time they're fourth and fifth year, they're ready to go. They're wanting to get involved. They're asking, can I help, miss? And so I'm just excited about that. And then also there's other ministries that God has opened up through the bus ministry. I think of the ladies' Bible study that started with, I told you in a previous video a few years back that Sisafat passed away, and her mom started coming to Bible study. She wanted to come. She had a wheelchair, and we have no elevator in the church. And the Bible study was in the basement, so I would drive around the back of and in order for her to be able to get in the wheelchair get to the Bible study. And she really enjoyed that. She passed away almost 3 years ago now, but her family, her sister, has continued to come. She says, I want to learn more about God like my sister did. And many other ladies now come as well. There's some ladies from a women's shelter that come. There's other ladies that were related to Ciciana that would not come when she was alive, but after she passed away, they wanted to come and learn what she had learned. And so it's just really exciting to see how God is working in their lives. Another exciting thing is that from the bus ministry, there have been 6 students that have graduated from the Bible College who were in the bus ministry at one time. And I'm just excited that they are now serving the Lord. And some of them went to YAP and was able to minister down there in the Christian school there. And because of COVID and everything that's happened, they've come back here, and now God's using them here on Guam. And I'm just excited that these kids have turned their lives over to God, and that God is using them in a unique way to reach out to their families, their people.
Hapaday, my name is Rejoice, and I met Miss Rhonda when I was in 9th grade. And so when I started coming to Harvest, when I was in 9th grade, we started doing small Bible studies, and she wanted me to share some few things about those Bible studies. But what I remember the Bible studies, but it just wasn't about the Bible studies that I remember. I also remember her famous Kool-Aid that she would make every time we would come over to her house. I remember those hikes and sleepovers that we'd have, and those Sunday afternoons that we'd spend in her house and just reading, and her sharing scripture and just memorizing verses. And when I was that young, I really didn't realize how much of an impact those times with her would be, and with the girls that I met. And they didn't just teach me about the Bible, but she was living out the Bible. And because of those times that we were having Bible study, I wouldn't be here where I am today, teaching at Harvest and actually being a part of the ministry here at Harvest. So I'm so thankful for her and her discipleship and life mentoring life with me. And yeah, just continue to support her, and hopefully I'll be able to do the same thing that she's done with me with other people that I meet along the way.
Hapaday from the beautiful island of Guam. My name is Finia Resalop. Today, I would like to talk about how the bus ministry has played a major role in my life. The very first time that I saw the ministry van was in my 2nd grade year. I remember being curious and wanting to go, and along the way, I met a wonderful woman named Rhonda Green. My heart will always be grateful for what people call bus ministry, because that's where it all started. The bus ministry is a testimony of how God worked throughout and in my life to get me to where I am today. It's more than a ministry. It's people that love the Lord, that has a heart for kids and know that they need Jesus. And I was one of those kids. And because of the bus ministry, I accepted Jesus in my heart and met wonderful people along the way. Through this ministry, I learned to get out of my comfort zone. Because of this ministry, I realized that other kids need Jesus just as much as I did when I was younger. So I will always be thankful for the bus ministry and Rhonda Green and all the people that pick us up just to come to church. Thank you.
My name is Rich. I've been serving God since 18, and now I'm 26, gonna be 27 soon. Part of my biggest role in serving God is having Rhonda as part of our life, Rhonda Green. She's been a huge blessing, and the verse that came into mind is in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5. It mentions Paul talking to Timothy that I remember your true faith. That kind of faith first belonged to your grandmother Lois and to your mother Eunice. I know you now have that same faith. Paul was reminding Timothy that same faith grandma had passed down to generations or whatever it is. And so just having Rhonda is like an example of how faith has been proven till this day. And so I'm thankful for her ministry, able to catch bus with her and showing up to church. And till this day, she still keeps us accountable and keeps us in the ministry. So we can't run away from her. She's a superhero, and so you try to hide, she'll still come for you. And so that's what I'm thankful for. A mother that's very accountable for their little kids to make sure they're still serving God. Thank you, Mama G and everybody.
Would you pray and ask God to continue to give them the strength and the wisdom to know how to reach out to their people here? That's a burden of mine, and I know that it's a burden of theirs as well. they want to go back to where they were, helping out in the Christian schools throughout the islands, but right now it's not possible. I'm just thankful that God is using them, and just how God is the one that's actually doing the work. It's not us. We're just instruments in His hands, and I just wanted to let you know exactly what God is doing out here. And thank you for your prayers, your gifts of support, your notes that you send, and just letting me know that you're praying. That just really encourages me. And God knows exactly what we need when we need it. And I just want to praise the Lord for all the things that He is doing here in the islands. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your prayers.
So that is Rhonda Green, and that gives you some more idea of her ministry down there and what God has been doing in the recent years.
I recognized a lot of the people in that video. I know some of them. I worked with them either in my classroom or just around campus when I was out on Guam. So that was fun to see some of them.
Yep. So pray for her and the COVID situation on Guam, and pray that would not be a hindrance, because right now life is not fun there either because of the restrictions they have. So pray that she can keep taking advantage of her ministry and her status as a nurse to be able to minister to people the way God would have her to.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found our hidden object. Very important if you ever want to learn a language someday to have one of these. And make sure you come back next week to hear the next part of the story and another travel tip.
Yeah. It'll be a good one. We'll see you then.
Bye.